Hello and welcome to the Events Industry Council's webinar on the CMP certification renewal process. My name is Josh Hinman and I will be presenting today's webinar. I am the certification coordinator at the Events Industry Council, responsible for the preferred provider and certification inbox, which entails course reviews, preferred provider applications, certification and renewal related inquiries.
And hello everyone, my name is Derek Williams. I'm the Senior Associate for Education Certification, and I'm mainly responsible for the certification inbox as well, initial certification review, and our learning management system.
Today we will review some important topics such as the benefits of renewing your CMP certification early, the eligibility requirements, the application process, where to find CE credits, and the timeline for reviewing your application. Please note that you can submit questions throughout the webinar. Derek and I will be able to answer your questions as soon as the formal presentation ends. Without further ado, let's discuss some of the benefits of maintaining your CMP certification. The Events Industry Council launched the Certified Meeting Professional program in 1985 to enhance the knowledge and performance of meeting professionals, promote the status and credibility of the meeting profession, and advance uniform standards of practice. Certified meeting professionals are uniquely qualified to plan extraordinary events aligned with organizational strategy. The qualifications for certification are based on professional experience, education, and a rigorous exam. CMPs have mastered a comprehensive body of knowledge that defines the overall meeting management profession. It is a base from which other specialized credentials can build and is open to planners and suppliers alike. We're proud of our international growth, and the CMP is recognized globally as the badge of excellence in the events industry. CMP is the industry's most prolific and rigorous credential, with more than 11,000 active CMPs in over 50 countries. So why recertify? Well, earning the CMP designation demonstrates your mastery of the knowledge and skills needed to be a successful meeting professional. But it doesn't end with the exam. Carrying the CMP designation shows that you have made a commitment to stay informed about the current practices and emerging trends in the industry by recertifying your CMP every 5 years. Now that we have reviewed the value of the CMP certification, we will now review the process to renew. First off, as long as you're part of the CMP community, we encourage you to keep your contact information up to date through your online account. Your account is your way to track your continuing education hours and how EIC keeps you aware of everything of significance in events management. This includes our email campaigns to remind you when it's time to recertify and let you know of continuing education opportunities that are coming up. So always keep your contact information up to date. This slide illustrates the path to CMP certification renewal, which requires significant time and dedication, as you can see. The first step is to log into your account at eventscouncil.org so you can track your progress through the recertification process. I also highly recommend reviewing the CMP recertification handbook to gain a further understanding of the renewal process, as this document will serve as your guide for renewal. We will walk through the additional steps on subsequent slides. As many of you already know, certificates will renew their CMP certification every 5 years by December 31st. For the application itself, you have a few options to fulfill the experience and education requirements. For the first option listed here, certificates must have 36 total months of full-time work experience in the meeting, event, exhibition, hospitality, and tourism industry. This doesn't have to be consecutive, but must be within the past 5 years. For the second option, certificates can meet the experience requirement by having 36 months as a full-time or part-time instructor of meeting, event, exhibition, hospitality, or tourism management at an educational institute or university program. As for the continuing education requirement, certificates can fulfill this requirement by completing 25 continuing education credits within the past 5 years. Up to 12 and a half of these hours may be non-industry specific if the subject matter aligns with one of the 9 domains listed in the CMP International Standards document. So an example would be if you took a financial management course or a project management course or a general marketing course, but it isn't really specific just to the events industry. You can still get credit up to 12 and a half credits as long as they align with the 9 domains. And again, please note that only topics related to the 9 domains will count for continuing education credit. Activities may be face-to-face conferences, webinars, both live and on demand, classes, or they can be individual sessions. For option 2, you only need 15 continuing education credits, but you also need 3 industry support activities. Industry support activities can be defined as membership in a meeting, hospitality industry organization, volunteer leadership role in a meeting industry organization, can be the author of a published industry-related article, a speaker at an event on an industry-related subject. You can participate in a CMP application review. You can participate in an events industry council sponsored panel. Now this includes standard setting, item review panels, or item writing panels, or a job analysis panel. And now for the last option of formal education, you must have earned an associate's degree or higher, or its international equivalent in an industry-related field within the past 5 years. Please note that general business degrees, for instance, business communications or marketing, will not be accepted for this option, but some of the courses in your degree program, if they are industry-specific, may be used for CE credit.
All right, and we'll go over the renewal application fee. The renewal application is available on January 1st of your renewal year and ends on December 31st. This renewal period is broken into 3 phases: early bird renewal, standard renewal, and late renewal. The early bird renewal deadline is on April 30th, and the fee is $225. The standard renewal deadline is on August 31st, and the fee is $250. Lastly, the late renewal deadline is on December 31st, and the fee is $275. So as you can see, it is more beneficial to renew earlier in the year as the fee to renew is cheaper. Once you have met the experience and education requirements, you may submit the CMP renewal application. The application can only be submitted online and in your online CMP account. It is important to remember that both the application and fee must be received before the application is reviewed. If we don't receive the fee, then your application will not be reviewed. After the application is submitted, you will receive an automated email letting you know that the application was successfully submitted. Additionally, please allow 3 to 4 weeks for your application to be reviewed, as this is a very thorough review process. But please remember that you can always reach out to either me or Josh to inquire about the status of your application. So when you log into your account, you should see a link that says recertify. If it says anything other than recertify, please contact us and we will get that fixed for you. Once you click the link, then it will take you to the following page that you can see here on the screen to submit your application. As stated previously, you do have three application types to choose from. After selecting your application type, you will proceed by entering in the required information. When entering your professional experience, you will need to upload a resume and input each job description as seen here on the screen. You do not have to put the entire tenure of your professional experience. However, we do need to see your work experience in the last 5 years of your renewal window. Be sure to save your work. Once you complete this section, then you can move on to the continuing education portion. On the home page, you will find an area to add and edit continuing education credits. You will need to click on the purple button and a page will come up for you to add those credits. Remember, the credits have to be in your renewal window. We cannot accept credits more than 5 years back from your application submission. Be sure to save your information. Once you go through the application, the portal will sync everything that you have added to the home page into your renewal application. Once you have input all of the continuing education and work experience, you will then be taken to this review screen. The work experience and CE section will be highlighted in green if you have met all the requirements. If one of the requirements is lacking, it will be highlighted in red and you will not be able to move forward. After you hit continue, you'll be taken to the payment screen where you can input your preferred method of payment. By clicking Pay by Check, an invoice will be generated in the My Orders tab so you can have the information for your records. Remember, you can always come back to the payment screen if you need to leave this for a later time. Your progress will be saved online. Again, please note that once the application is submitted, it can take up to 4 weeks to review your application. Two great resources for your renewal are the Recertification Handbook and CMP International Standard document. Both of these documents are available for free download on the Events Industry Council's website. As I stated earlier, the Recertification Handbook is your guide to everything about the renewal process, so definitely be mindful of this document if you have any questions. More than likely, any question you have can be answered here. Additionally, the International Standards document showcases the topics that are applicable for CE credit as listed in our 9 domains. Also, remember, if you are unsure if a course counts for CE credits, you can always compare the course content to what's listed in the 9 domains to see if it qualifies.
Many of you may be asking yourselves, okay, great. I know I need CE credits to renew, but where do I find these credits? Well, on the front page of eventscouncil.org, you'll see a section titled Knowledge, which contains all of our continuing education options. If you click on the section titled Webinars, you'll be taken to a screen that houses over 100 webinars offered by Events Industry Council. All of these webinars may be used towards earning the CE credits needed for the education requirement. As well as our on-demand webinars, we also have a listing of upcoming live webinars. Our next live webinar is called Innovation in Food and Beverage Sustainability. It's part of our Sustainability webinar series. This webinar takes place on Tuesday, May 28th from 11 to 12 a.m. Eastern Time, and it's also free to sign up. Hosting sustainable events is a hot topic currently in the industry, and for good reason. So I definitely recommend signing up for this, as you won't want to miss this interesting topic. All right, so CMP Conclave 2019 is the only event created exclusively for CMPs. This year, the event takes place from November 15th through the 17th in Colorado Springs, Colorado, at the Broadmoor Resort. Now, to gain insight on unique perspectives and experiences throughout the industry, you'll also here you can gain insight on unique perspectives and experiences throughout the industry while you gather CE and network with colleagues, friends, and fellow CMPs. Join us for 3 days of quality education. Now, do you need a reason to attend the CMP Conclave? Well, we have 5 listed here. So, number 1, it's a great way to advance your knowledge and skills in the events industry with educational content that explores the many aspects of event planning, including concurrent sessions led by industry experts. You'll also be able to hear from our industry keynote speakers who will challenge your thinking. You'll also be able to expand your professional network of fellow CMPs, as well as gather continuing education credits to bank against your recertification requirements. And you'll also contribute to our future by participating in cutting-edge conversations that propel all of us forward. So don't miss out on this great opportunity. Registration begins in early summer, so be on the lookout for our emails with further details. Now that we've discussed where you can find EIC webinars and live events, we should now go over preferred provider courses and where you can find these. First off, though, we should discuss what a preferred provider actually is. Preferred providers are third-party organizations that offer continuing education that has been approved for CMP CE credit. EIC maintains a rigorous review process to ensure these courses meet our standards and align with one of the 9 domains listed in the International Standards document. Through our web search, you can find local events, online live webinars, recorded webinars, and self-study courses offered by preferred providers. To find a listing of the preferred provider CE courses, you'll need to hover over the knowledge button once again, and this time click preferred providers. This will take you to the preferred provider calendar of events that houses hundreds of continuing education opportunities throughout the year. All right, so it's best to go over what CE credits don't count. And here we've listed the top reasons of why a continuing education course submitted by a certificant would be rejected or not approved. This should definitely help you avoid situations when submitting the application where it would get rejected. So it's also important to point out that this applies to only credits you are submitting manually that aren't pre-approved for CMP CE credit. So number 1 here, the continuing education activity pertains to personal and professional development. And what we mean by this are when people submit kind of common courses such as how to minimize stress in your life, how to network, dressing for success, and personal branding tips. So these titles really aren't specific to the events industry and are more of just basic personal or professional development courses. Number 2, the session does not align with one of the 9 domains in the CMP International Standards. So we recommend you make sure you're familiar with the knowledge and skills outlined in the CMP International Standards document before you submit one of these activities. Number 3, the activity took place outside of the 5-year certification cycle. Now, all CMP CEs must take place in your certification cycle. Number 4, not enough information was provided to align the activity with the CMP International Standards. Titles of sessions often don't provide enough information for the Events Industry Council's application reviewers to know whether the activity relates to the CMP International Standards. So when in doubt, provide session descriptions to show how the continuing education activity aligns with one of the 9 domains. All right, so number 5 here, the education degree is not industry specific. Degrees in hospitality, events, and meeting planning and tourism will count for CMP credit. Degrees in areas such as communication, marketing, or business will not count for credit. And lastly, number 6, the CE was company specific. So in-house educational activities are not accepted if the learning objectives are company specific. A full copy of the CMP Code of Ethics is listed on the EIC website, but we would like to highlight a few important key parts. CMP certificates must abide by all policies and procedures of the CMP program as outlined in the CMP handbook, or those that may be set by the CMP Governance Commission in the future. CMPs are to actively model and encourage the integration of ethics into all aspects of the performance of their duties. They are to perform their responsibilities in accordance with the laws and regulations of the local, state, or national governments under which they reside. And finally, CMPs must never use their position for undue personal gain and to promptly disclose to appropriate parties all potential and actual conflicts of interest.
Okay, so we have our emeritus status. CMP emeritus status is an honorary status Events Industry Council bestows on those who have been actively certified and then retired from the field. This allows you to keep your designation, although you are no longer working in the meetings industry and therefore are unable to meet recertification requirements. Retired CMPs may qualify to receive emeritus status if they meet all the following requirements, which are: you have to be at least 59.5 years of age, are a CMP in good standing, and have held your CMP for at least 10 consecutive years. And then lastly, retire from full-time employment in the meetings industry, meaning you cannot work more than 20 hours per week for compensation. To apply for CMP emeritus status, please send a letter to Events Industry Council stating why you want to keep your CMP, when you retired, and from what position, contact information of your last employer. Please remember that Events Industry Council does reserve the right to contact your former employers to verify your retirement, and your application must include emeritus status request fee of $200 and proof of age. And you can always email that to certification@eventscouncil.org.
All right, thanks, Derek. That pretty much wraps up our webinar here. We'd like to thank you for reviewing the content of this webinar with us. But before we leave, Derek and I would love to now present a quick Q&A to help answer some of the most frequently asked questions. So we have quite a few here, and we will begin to read out these questions and answer these at this time. So give us one moment, we'll be right back.
All right, so we have some good questions that have come in, so let's read them off. So the first question: may I carry over CEs to the next renewal cycle if I have more than 25 required credits?
So unfortunately, you cannot carry over CEs to the next renewal cycle. So if you have more than a required 25, maybe you have 30, you cannot transfer 5 of those credits over to the next renewal cycle.
Second question, what programs are acceptable for CE credits?
Well, the programs that we have acceptable for CE credits are, let's see here, they can be live courses, they can be recorded webinars, they can be live webinars, you can go to conferences or events. The only main thing we're looking for here is that they align with the 9 domains listed in the International Standards document and that they're related to the events industry.
So Josh, what is not accepted for CE credit? Someone asked.
So general courses such as professional and personal development courses are typically not accepted for continuing education credits, mainly because they don't align with the 9 domains and they're not related to the events industry specifically. Now, some of the examples of this are, how to use Microsoft Excel, personal branding tips, networking tips, dress for success, how to interview. So basically just anything that's not specifically related to the events industry.
How are the number of credits determined for a program?
That's a great question. So generally we run off of the quarter hour system. So if you submit a 75-minute course, that would be 0.75 CE credits. If you submit an hour-long course, that's 1 CE credit. If you submit a half-hour course, then it's 0.5 CE credits. Just be cognizant that we do not accept continuing education courses that are under half an hour. So our only requirement there is that they have to be over half an hour, and then they can be counted on the quarter hour system. So 0.5, 0.75, 1 hour, and so forth. Five. All right.
So another question, how are CE credits reported in my account?
So one of the great benefits of taking courses through the Events Industry Council or through an approved preferred provider with the Events Industry Council is that credits will be automatically uploaded into your account by the provider. So as long as you are matching your email address that is listed in your online CMP account to the email address that you give the provider when you take the course, they're going to use that email address to upload the credits into your online account.
Can I self-report CE credits?
Yes, so another way to add credits in your account, if the preferred provider hasn't uploaded the credits in your account, you can always do that manually on your end. This is especially helpful if you're at the end of the year and you're up against a deadline. You can just log into your online account. You can click Add Continuing Education, and you can start adding the courses in there. Now, it's a pretty simple process. All you really need to do is input the session description and the title, how many credits the course was for, and the date you took it.
So just for clarification, Josh, CMPs can check the status of their CEs online.
Yes, they can check the status of the CEs online. If you just log in, you can go on your home page. You'll be able to see a section titled My Continuing Education, and that's where you can see all the credits that have been added to your account. And one more thing I forgot that I did leave off. When you do self-report CE credits, you will need to upload documentation to confirm that you took the course or as proof. And what we mean by that is you can just upload a receipt, an agenda, a brochure, what else? Let's see. A confirmation email that you went, or a continuing education certificate. Those are all forms of proof that you can upload as part of that documentation that you need.
So what happens if I do not meet the CE requirement by the end of the renewal cycle?
If you do not meet the requirements by the end of the renewal cycle, you will become lapsed. Your CMP certification will not be valid. You will fall into the lapsed status, and you can't market yourself as a CMP. Luckily, we do have a grace period after December 31st, which lasts until April 1st of the following year. So you can still get in those requirements to renew or recertify your CMP certification, so it's not lost for good. So, just within the next 3 months after December 31st, you have the opportunity to become recertified. Now, after April 1st of the following year, and you still haven't recertified, your CMP certification will expire, and there will be no way to renew or recertify your certification, and you will have to retake the CMP exam and start the application process all over again. So this is also another reason why we always encourage you to please keep your contact information up to date in your online profile, because trust me, we will send you plenty of communications to ensure that you're aware that your CMP certification is going to expire. And even we'll provide ways of how you can renew it. We'll send you plenty of updates on continuing education and provide links there. So definitely don't want people to have their certification expire. So, all right.
Great. So are waivers granted for the CE requirement?
So for the CE requirement, there are no waivers granted for the CE requirement, as this is a very important aspect of being a CMP, is staying on top of the new trends in the meeting industry and just staying up to date and just being the best possible employee, or most up to date, most knowledgeable employee, or CMP. It's just that is a requirement that we cannot add exceptions for. So everyone must complete the continuing education requirement.
So someone asks, how do you verify the experience requirement?
The experience requirement requires you to just submit your resume online and also input your job description and your current job. So that's really all the verification that's needed. We don't contact your supervisor unless we see something that looks a little fishy, to make sure that you're doing what's required to fulfill the experience. But I guess mainly it's based off of the honor system.
So this is really a question. I've logged in but don't see the recertify button. What is the issue?
If you log in and you don't see the recertify button, that probably means that either your recertification cycle is not during that current year, or it means you accidentally created a new profile. So in that case, if either of these things happen, please contact us at certification@eventscouncil.org, or you can give us a call with the phone number listed here, and we can verify those things for you, so we can ensure that you can recertify.
So is there a hard copy of the renewal application that can be downloaded? Can I submit a hard copy renewal application?
The renewal application is only found in your online CMP account. It cannot be downloaded, and certificates are unable to submit a hard copy renewal application. So it's all to be filled out online and submitted online.
If I renew earlier in the year, say around May 2019, does my renewal cycle begin in May 2019, or will it begin January 1, 2020?
While we do encourage everyone to renew as soon as possible, and while we do encourage everyone to renew as soon as possible, unfortunately, all right, let me see. Okay, while we do encourage everyone to renew as soon as possible, if you renew in, say, around May 2019, your renewal cycle does not begin in May of 2019 for the next renewal cycle. You will have to wait until January 1st, 2020 before the new renewal cycle kicks in.
Are there any free webinars available for CE credit?
Events Industry Council does offer a few free webinars online, so you can just go back to the webinar section, like we mentioned earlier, and there's quite a few free webinars listed there.
What if one course applies to multiple domains? Which domain do you choose when submitting the course for CE credit?
Now, there's probably quite a few courses that you'll be submitting that they kind of pertain to multiple domains, and that's not unusual. And what we suggest is when submitting courses, when you're manually submitting courses, is to just kind of choose the domain that is the most prevalent in the course. And so just try your best at choosing the domain that sounds most prevalent within that course, and that should be sufficient.
Do you have to complete CE credits every year, or can you complete them all the fifth year?
No, there's no timeline of when you need to submit the CE credits or how many you need. You don't have to take 5 credits every year to recertify. You can take all of your credits in the last year if you prefer. You can space them out. You can take all your credits in the first year even, or you can take all your credits in the last week. It really doesn't matter. We just want to ensure that everyone meets the 25 CE credit requirement.
So we have time for a few more questions. So do you need to have CE credits that line up with all the domains to renew? That's a really good question.
That is a good question. So I think that what you're trying to say here is do all your 25 credits, do they all have to cover all of the 9 domains? And they do not, is the short answer. So you can actually take all of your courses in one domain if you prefer. That's not something that we require everyone to do, is hit all those 9 domains. That could be quite hard to do. So you can space them out, or you can just complete all the domain, or complete all your course credits that line up with one domain. There's no restrictions there.
And so someone just submitted a question. If I choose the wrong domain for a course, will that result in the rejection of my renewal application?
No. So if you accidentally submit the wrong domain for a course, that's not something that we're going to penalize you for. We'll be able to figure out what domain that it aligns with, the course aligns with, and we're not going to reject your renewal application.
Perfect. What happens if my application is declined? Do I have to reply and pay again?
If your application is declined due to there being a discrepancy in your continuing educations or whatever the situation is, we'll reach out to you so that you can provide more documentation, or you can provide the information that's lacking from your application that we need so that you can rectify the situation. We're not going to make you reapply and pay the recertification fee again.
And so once you recertify, do you receive a new certificate showing your new recertification date?
All right, excellent. So once you recertify, we will send you a new certificate showing your new recertification date, because as you notice on your current certificate, it has your current expiration date, so that definitely needs to be updated, and we will send you a new one.
And so our last question of the day, are the applications reviewed as they are received, or will they start being reviewed after deadline date?
When we receive the renewal applications, we do ask that you give us 3 to 4 weeks to review those applications, and we will review them within that timeline. So we're not going to wait until the end of the end of the year. We're not going to wait until the end of the year to start reviewing these applications. So if you submit yours in May, within 4 weeks, we will review that application. We'll get back to you to notify you if it's been approved and recertify your CMP certification once it's been accepted. All right, so that marks the end of our Q&A section here. Thank you again for attending the CMP Renewal webinar, and we've also listed the references or a lot of links to some of the items we mentioned throughout the webinar. So please feel free to review these documents, and they can all be found on the Events Industry Council's website at eventscouncil.org. And again, if you have any further questions, please feel free to contact us with the contact information we've listed on this slide. And that's it. So thank you all for joining, and have a great rest of your day.